Hi, my name is Bipin. This presentation is towards my final project on research track for 6460 of OMSCS course at Georgia Tech. The topic I'm addressing is a STEM gender gap. What are the contributing factors and what methods work effectively to prevent or mitigate this gap? Here is the research scope and outline. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, if you are not aware. This is the phenomenon in which lesser number of girls will enroll and get into STEM courses in secondary and post-secondary education, going to college, and then eventually choosing STEM careers. So in US context, the numbers of uh, girls and minority who actually get into STEM fields are very minimal, and it's decreasing every year by year. There are some measures to address this, but maybe it's not enough because it's still an issue within the country. So my research is built on top of the existing scholarly research and organizational research, reputed organizational research, and I'm collating the findings from many of these research areas and studies, and then combining that with my own survey results. Most of my survey respondents were from STEM. They had a STEM background, including both men and women. I'm trying to combine all this together to give my final recommendations. I have used and created and used a framework under four quadrants, uh, which are related to STEM gender gap. So you can see the causes here using this four quadrant framework. Final recommendations will also fit into this framework. So the main levers are social encouragement, self-perception, academic exposure, and career perception. Socially, um, in the US context and maybe in so many other countries too, um, STEM is identified as more masculine than feminine. And because women had a traditional role as a caregiver within the family and within the community, they were supposed to go into more feminine roles like nursing, administration, management, etc. And the STEM, the engineering, the hardcore math related fields were supposed to be masculine. Because parents and teachers have this perception and then they propagate that in the classrooms and at homes, girls are discouraged from pursuing STEM courses. Some of the religious sentiments also reflect this. Um, if you look at the self-perception quadrant, STEM is supposed to be not girly, so many girls actually drop out, even though they were in the primary classes interested in STEM courses. When they go through high school and towards college, the numbers come down, they drop out. And they're not seeing many girls in the classroom, so that's another factor. So it's demotivating for them. They want to be with other girls in the classrooms, and as they are not there in STEM, so it's a perpetual thing. So the lack of female role models to look up to after doing engineering or math, what would they become? It's very unknown. So there's an awareness issue here too, especially for girls. And an efficient support system is not present, to be honest. Even in the academic circles, teachers and professors usually favor boys going towards STEM because they think, um, uh, not with a scientific background, but they think they haven't seen so many girls there. That's the reality, and they are trying to propagate that. But scientific studies have shown there is no less math or special orientation for girls. The only reason is they should have exposure early in life, and then they'll inculcate those interests and would be interested in following STEM careers. So the STEM occupational awareness void still exists within the school system, where the girls don't know how much they'll be paid if they get into STEM courses or STEM careers. And then what would that mean? What would be their day-to-day life like? Were there other women? What they have done? What were the issues they have faced? So it's an awareness issue at heart, which needs to be addressed. And further, um, exacerbating this fact, media portrayal of STEM as more men-friendly than woman-friendly is not helping either. Especially in the quantitative fields, men are supposed to be the workhorses, the TV shows. If you look at in another slide, I'm showing the Big Bang Theory slide where I can follow it here. See on the left bottom corner, All the guys are supposed to be the PhD, the math-related subject matter experts, and the girl is from marketing or administrative background, doing some soft courses. So that's a stereotype that's being propagated. So the fear of solitude for women, if they are in a STEM career, there are no other women whom they interact with on a daily basis, is a big negative for them. And there's a social outcast fear. Living among men, spending a lot of time among them, uh, will they be an outcast from their circles um, within those STEM careers is another major problem. This slide is self-explanatory. Boys are supposed to build rockets, girls are supposed to do babysitting. Girls are gorgeous and boys are clever. This has been propagated through time. So after looking at the scholarly studies covering across many decades, um, the main points I have articulated here in terms of what's causing this STEM gender gap, what has worked effectively in mitigating this issue. So if you look at the STEM courses, the performance in the senior year of high school is a very critical factor for girls to enroll in college level courses. So if we are putting efforts at an institutional or systemic level, we have to focus more on 11th and 12th grade. Male stereotypes about women as caregivers, the traditional mindset, is not helping women pursue STEM careers. And there could be an unconscious bias here. People may not even realize that, but they are furthering the STEM gender gap effect because of that. Even the girls demonstrating high performance in STEM courses, even at the top quartile, are affected by the negative gender stereotypes applied to them and the unconscious bias at play. So boys really have a leg up over girls in terms of pursuing STEM courses. So that's essentially what gender gap is. So we are not seeing many girls there, and something needs to be done. So some of these I have touched upon before, but values affirmation or the psychological intervention in experimental studies have helped reduce the male-female performance ratio. And the learning difference uh, has been addressed substantially. So you have to address girls, the methods they favor in terms of understanding science and math subjects. So right now, the lectures that are delivered in the classrooms are very gender neutral. So women are not getting any help in terms of going into STEM courses because maybe it's suited more for boys than girls and how it's structured, the curriculum is structured. And the parents' perception also mirrors the teachers' perceptions, contributing to the sustenance of gender stereotypes. At home, our parents will favor boys going into STEM. At school, teachers will encourage boys to further their interest in STEM-related activities. So which has to change? Design of an effective curriculum or project at high school which brings together everybody, including boys and girls, to enroll in STEM courses has to be there. So now let's look at the survey results that I have derived from my own OMSCS classmates, their responses, and my engineering classmates from my bachelor's degree course, also from my colleagues. All of them, at least most of them, had a STEM background. They have finished their engineering or computer science courses, and now they are answering my questions here. So 90% of the survey respondents recognized a STEM gender gap. Some were married, some were single, predominantly male, as I said. So in STEM, 2 by 3 is male. So many of them said they enjoyed the STEM courses. That's why they actually came into a STEM career. And 22% was influenced by the STEM field earning potential. So we have to let the girls, the young women know that they can earn more money if they get into STEM courses and then further a STEM career path. So this could be a missing link right now. So almost greater than 30% were influenced by family, community, and academic circles. So I have pasted some of my question and the response from my Google survey results in the following slides for your consumption. So nobody, if you look at the right-hand top corner, nobody thinks Biologically, there is a difference between boys and girls to learn and further STEM courses. But everybody thinks at least 85% thinks there is an issue. There is a gender gap in STEM field, right? So maybe it can be addressed, but some people are not sure. And more than 61% thinks, plus 30 if you think because they're not sure, there could be a socially constructed um, um, activity going on in terms of furthering this STEM gender gap. Further analysis, this slide is contributing to that. So some background on the respondents, and people think there it would be effective if focused programs or workshops are there to help girls understand what STEM field would look like, maybe give them early exposure. So my respondents have positively um, reacted to that. So many of my survey results here through my Google survey reflect what has already been identified through the scholarly research. So the general thinking is the same. There's a STEM gender gap at play, even in US. It's a developed country, and then we need to take some measures to address this, maybe at a national level. So I I have a further thread that's coming in terms of recommendations into the four-quadrant framework. In terms of social encouragement, STEM pursuits have to be encouraged by at home, at school, and even at workplace. So teachers, parents, family, peers, they all have to be part of this collaborative effort. And even in the families, parents have to think women could do much beyond their traditional caregiver roles. They could do very well in computer science or math. That has to be accepted. And that recognition has to come, and then girls have to be supported for that. In terms of self-perception, self-confidence and self-efficacy is very keen. So, it's very important and a critical factor. So a belief, how can you build a belief system like that within our young woman? So a support system within our academic circle and also within the family circle is very pertinent. And that creates an interest in STEM fields. Early exposure tied with that. In terms of career perception, young women have to be aware what following a STEM career would mean for them. So even if there are not many girls right now in STEM fields, they have to identify, they have to be exposed to the role models who have made it really well and very successful in those STEM careers, and then maybe have an opportunity to talk to them, to meet with them, to understand more how the daily life of a woman in a STEM field is, and it's nothing scary. And they have to understand that they are no less than boys in terms of furthering a STEM interest. Structured and unstructured STEM coursework really helps. That's part of the experimental studies that's done after school. At least in some of the school systems, they had given additional exposure to STEM um, class and subject matter, and that has really helped students pick up their grades and even increase the overall SAT scores for math in some of the schools. So there's experimental experiments and results which have yielded positive results to address STEM gender gap, at least in local settings. So scaling these results, which are identified in experimental research, across at a national scale would be key. And some more recommendations based many of them I have touched upon. So teachers need to know the destination of their students and do not let their own personal stereotypes interfere with those aspirations. So that's very key. I think time has come for professors and teachers to recognize their key role, their pivotal role in terms of addressing STEM gender gap and influencing young women to pursue the STEM fields. So in terms of college and high school counselors, they can play a vital part too in terms of counseling the students and giving them positive encouragement to pursue STEM fields. So the career advice have to be more female friendly. It should not reflect a masculine version of a STEM job. So, in the interest of time, I'm trying to finish this within 15 minutes. I'm almost 50. The rest of role model examples I have given. 2014 Google Science for winners, all girls. 2015 Google Science winner, Olivia. Carly Close, I think she was in Spider-Man movie. So she's a model and also a programmer. Oh, I didn't know that myself. And then another model, Lindsay, who is also a programmer, a doctor and an astronaut, a lecturer at the university, a mathematician who is a woman. So I think we have to understand profiles like this and then showcase them to our young women, especially in a school setting or in any other means of exposure they have, so that they know going to a STEM field is a natural thing to do. There is nothing wrong with that, and they're as qualified as boys uh, to further a STEM career. So with that, I'll try to conclude my presentation. Please go through this review, provide your feedback, and also look at my research paper. And thank you for your time.